Good morning and welcome to BBOC Live, presented by DraftKings. It's 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and this is the Week 5 college football betting preview. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, my fellow BBOC co-hosts, Mike Calabrese, Collin Wilson, and the one and only Duck, aka Josh Nunn. Lot to get to today on this glorious Saturday with a beautiful slate. We will give out our best bets, our first of two best bets in just a moment. We'll close out the show with another build a Moneyline parlay. We will talk the marquee matchup of the day between Oregon and Penn State. And don't forget about the D block with Duck, where we'll talk some FCS. Make sure you have your odds screen and sportsbook up because those will move. Also, we will have quick slips in the YouTube chat if you want to follow along with any of the bets that we give out. Help you just grab those bets quickly, click the link, take it to your book, and you can place them without much work. Gentlemen, what a day we have in store. Just a great sports day. College football is in full swing. Collin, is this Sammy Pittman's funeral
I
today?
mean, you can hear it in his voice. Every time he talks, he's like, what really he's just like, we didn't have any effort, we didn't have any motivation. And what I hear from him is, I'm only 7 games away from retirement, is what I'm actually hearing. I just dropped my kid off at campus. Like this play, Fayetteville is going to be rocking for an 11 a.m. game. The Irish are well represented. I think there's going to be a massive amount of explosives on the field. Keep your eyes open for Leonard Moore here. I got everybody on watch. Figure out if he's going to be playing for Notre Dame's defense.
Yeah, if Leonard Moore is in, I might be the only one on the planet betting the under here, but we shall see. Duck, if I had asked, what's the you can't give an obvious answer. What's the a game that you're looking forward to the most today that's not like one of the three or four marquee games?
Probably Air Force and Hawaii. It'll be interesting to see if Air Force can get off the mat in league play. Hawaii 6 straight weeks and now traveling off of the island. Their offense is just so jerky, and even with Alejado back, they had their worst offensive performance of the season at home from a yards per play perspective. I just don't think they're going to have it this week. I laid it with the Flyboys.
Calabrese, that what an answer by the way. I don't even know what channel is that on. Is that on like Mountain West Network or did that get a
That's just an app, right? You can only watch the app.
I don't know
Yeah,
I'll have to
stream
check the
free.
Action Network app. Uh Duck, look into that while I'm asking Calabrese. Calabrese, how about you? Name an off the radar game you're looking forward to.
Give me a fun G5 quarterback, matchup between Jacob Clark and Maverick McIver. Missouri State against Western Kentucky, like 4 years ago, that didn't even seem like a matchup that would ever happen. But I think it's going to be fireworks there and a game that's been circled by both coaches. If Western Kentucky can get the mojo going, they looked really sluggish offensively last week against Nevada. I think they bounce back here, and it's going to be an exciting brand of football. If Conference USA wants to make their bones on being a high-scoring league, I wouldn't complain.
It looks like FS1, Air Force Hawaii, gets a main channel out there. All right, let's get into our first best bets. Colin, what do you got?
Yeah, I know you and I disagree on this, but let's get to the big boy. Alabama and Georgia. I am going in on the over. I bet it at 52 and a half early in the week. I think we're at 54 at DraftKings. DraftKings 53 and a half right now. I would play it all the way up to 55. I understand what Alabama has played, but right now they are the second highest passing offensive nationally and creating contested catches allowed. What does that mean? Ty Simpson is throwing the ball immaculately right now, and I don't believe in this Georgia secondary whatsoever. They have a coverage grade of 93rd. They gave up 5 explosive passes to Marshall and Austin P. And just look at their corner play between Aguero, Everett, and Harris. They've allowed 21 of 31 targets to be caught for 248 yards. That is way too many yards after the catch for a corner. You go to the other side. I do believe in this Georgia offense. Gunnar Stockton has outperformed what I thought he could do this season. He does have a lot of pressures. I think that comes into this game and liking the Alabama side. I think that's the reason why you've seen a dip in the side on the number. But the fact is Bama has been terrible in defensive finishing drives. They're allowing teams to average 4.4 points every time a possession gets past the 40. That's just not going to stand up here. I projected at 61. I agree with the steam. I think 55 is your last number. I like the over.
Totally disagree. I'll be waiting on the under. I really want the under live. I think Alabama has some good wrinkles early off the bye with DeBoer and Grubb, but then the master adjuster Kirby's going to come in. But I'm waiting this I'm waiting for everyone to who's betting. Everyone in the world is betting this over. I'm waiting for this to keep ticking up, and then definitely live. I want an under. By the way, your boy Ty Simpson, he couldn't shred this Florida State defense that got shredded by your boy Morris last night.
I think you and I are gonna have a Hall of Fame. I mean, after last night with Arizona State TCU, I think you and I are gonna have a Hall of Fame Twitter day. I mean, it's just we're kicking off Arkansas Notre Dame. I think you and I
That
are
was not a good look for Alabama, by the way, last night.
no.
Calabrese, what do you got?
So I'm going for a game that I circled in the preseason for potential under. Anything north of 40 were in my preseason notes. Sitting at 45 and a half between Rice and Navy. The Middies and Owls are bottom 10 in tempo. They're top three in rush rate. And the Owls are dead last in explosiveness. So they only have one score in the first quarter this season against FBS opponents. So I think another slow start is on the menu for Scott Abel's team. That's also 93rd in finishing drives. So what you want to have is that 12-play drive that ends in a field goal attempt. And then the other side of things, Navy is far less explosive than they were last year when they first introduced this millennial wing T offense. They're down to 73rd in explosiveness on that side of the ball. And Rice has been sound tackling at least through the first 4 games of the season, 40th per PFF. The last little wrinkle here, John Kay, their defensive coordinator, he was a high school coaching legend in the Houston area. He won 4 state titles at the 6A level, which is big boy football down there in Texas. And he had to play against a lot of power programs that had option elements, most notably Duncanville. So I think what's going to go on between that experience and what he sees every single week against Abel's offense in practice, I think they'll be prepared for this millennial wing T. There'll be fewer explosive plays. So I'd play this down to about 43. I love the under here.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. These are two option teams. It's not pure triple option, but historically, the market is now getting smarter on this. But historically, there's like a 9 to 10 point drop in totals when two option teams play each other. There's more familiarity, obviously fewer possessions. So yeah, this one should be played in there. Bryce earlier this year had a game where their A dot was like zero, because like it was just screens and then a couple shovel passes and. So yeah, there's not going to be much explosiveness from the Rice offense. Duck, what do you got?
Yeah, looking at Western Kentucky, they go on the road to Missouri State. The problem here for Missouri State is it's just such a bad matchup for them schematically. The way that you attack WKU defensively is on the ground, and the Bears are just so non-proficient running the ball. 2.7 yards per carry, 83 yards per game on the ground. And they've been so jerky on offense and rely so much on explosivity in order to move the ball. They don't string together successful plays consistently, and they can't protect the quarterback. 18 sacks given up, 39 tackles for loss. It's going to be trouble for their offense today. On the other side, Maverick MacGyver should absolutely feast against this Missouri State secondary. That's 133rd in pass play EPA allowed, 124th in pass play success rate, and 106th in pass play explosiveness given up. So WKU is going to put up a big number. I don't think Missouri State's going to be able to keep up.
I don't know what you guys see of this Western Kentucky team, UN Breeze. I mean, they arguably should have lost last week to Nevada. They got their doors blown off by Toledo. By the way, another team that can't run the ball this year.
We should have a board bet, you and me. I think the Bears are live. We should.
I agree. Bears are going to be in my round robin, but I wish you luck, Duck. Well, actually, I don't because I'm on the other side. I'll throw out of all like just on my card the one that I still like the most at current. We'll go NIU. This is a tough spot for San Diego State. This is another team you guys love, but I really don't. Tough spot off a big win coming across the country to play in DeKalb before the start of conference play. Hammock, a lot of familiarity with Sean Lewis. Remember he beat him in the conference championship a couple years ago. Also saw a similar type of offense last week. That'll help in the preparation. NIU will control the clock here. Their defense can keep this bad San Diego State offense in check. Yes, the win last week was impressive, but you're talking about missed field goals. You're talking about 2 defensive touchdowns. It's a pretty fluky result for a San Diego State team that got destroyed by Washington State. And also, in their only road game. Also, this is a big strength of schedule disparity, which I think matters at this point in the season. We saw that last night with Houston and Oregon State. Oregon State with an easy cover. They had one of the hardest schedules in the country to date, and Houston had a pretty easy one. So give me NIU to get it done at home, catching a small number. All right, before we build our Moneyline parlay, I will throw it to myself for a quick DraftKings read. The Big Bets on Campus podcast is sponsored by DraftKings. And in partnership with DraftKings, we'd like to tell you the next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. But that's not all. You also get $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube, so you can watch NFL Sunday games just like I do. To get started, use promo code BBOC when signing up. Once more, use promo code BBOC when signing up for those bonus bets and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket. The crown is yours. All right, thank you to me for that read. By the way, getting a live update here from the Ryder Cup. The U.S. is on the brink of forfeiting in order to get home to watch this college football slate. Can't really blame them. Would be the most American move. All right, let's build our Moneyline parlay for today. Collin, kick us off. Are you muted, Collin? I can't hear you.
Oh, I was muted. I was saying you can stop calling me Commie Wilson. I bet USA this year. All right. Let's kick it off big. Let's go big. Washington's going to upset Ohio State. There's just way too many things going on both sides of the ball that make me love the Huskies here. Really, with Ohio State, like you can't really look at Grambling in Ohio, 107-9 in the total score. Look, you have to go back to the Texas box score, and if you look at that, Texas dominated Ohio State on the ground and in the trench. Two or more first downs. The Longhorns are only stuffed on 16% attempts. That's half the national average. Jonah Coleman and Damon Williams are absolutely going to go crazy in their zone read concepts today. They are firing at a 73% success rate in those zone read concepts. The national average is 44. They've almost doubled it. And I've said this before, like I know we got picked on in the first week because of what happened with Texas, but Matt Patricia is a downgraded defensive coordinator. Look at Caleb Downs right now. His missed tackle rate last year was 10%. Right now it's 21%. Fundamentals are lacking on this defensive side, even though you haven't seen it yet from this Ohio State team. You go to the other side of the ball, Julian Sayin, a freshman on the road and and this is a hostile environment if you have not been up to Seattle to see a Huskies game. He's going to face pure cover one. So far, Julian Sayin against cover one, 44% success rate. That's not very good. I think Washington pulls it out outright today.
Yeah, I hate that Carter Davis isn't playing. Ryan Walters, play more zone today, if you can. That's a big bummer. First round draft pick, probably. It's not going to play against those receivers. But this Ohio State backfield's way down. Their pass protection's way down. And we still haven't seen their defense get tested. I don't care about Texas. Texas couldn't move the ball on a UTEP. And I agree on Patricia. In Jed Fish, we trust. By the way, if you want to sprinkle, you want to get a little crazy, put a little couch change bet in today. Damon Williams to win the Heisman, just 60 to 1's out there. If Washington wins this game and he goes off, what is he, the favorite tomorrow? And then you got a game against Oregon at home to end the year. Like that's what you need at the end of the year. You need a big marquee game. And then in between, he's got a bunch of games against vulnerable defenses where you can stat pad. And with Davis out, like Washington to win this game, they're gonna have to score. Williams, he can have stats on the ground. He can do it with his legs and arm. I don't know. Might be worth a sprinkle if you think Washington wins this game. I like this one. Calabrese, every week I disagree with your Moneyline parlay piece, and every week it loses. And now I see you come with this, which makes me sad because I want them to win today. What do you got?
Well, nothing's better than an I told you so tweet from Stuckey at 11 p.m. That's been bulletin board material for me here at Breeze U. So I'm going with LSU, the Bayou Bengals, as a slight dog. I like LSU's front seven to be able to keep Chambliss in check. The Bayou Bengals rush D EPA is top 10 in the whole country. And the former Ferris State quarterback through two starts has 29 carries. So bottling him up is critical. It really opens things up in the play action game. Blake Baker is willing to send exotic pressures as well. You saw it in that Clemson game, those cat blitzes, those zone blitzes. I think he can confuse this kid a little bit, and he's thrown into a secondary that is punishing quarterbacks whenever they make a mistake. It's not pass breakups, it's interceptions. But on the other side of things, offensively, I look at LSU getting Trey'Dez Green back, and getting him back in the red zone is key because this guy is an absolute mismatch nightmare. 6'7", 250 pounds. Ole Miss doesn't have a single starter in their secondary over 6 feet. You saw the game-winning touchdown against Clemson. They stack one side of the field. They give him a one-on-one on the other side of the field. There's not too much you can do schematically to be able to stop that. And I think that's going to be key for an LSU offense that cannot run the ball. So to be able to finish a drive in the red zone with a touchdown, having Green back is massive. And the final piece here is I like Nuss against teams who can't rush the passer. the front line for LSU has been underwhelming as run blockers, but they've done a decent job in pass protection. And Ole Miss is 121st in pass rush. They've gone 2 straight games without getting to the quarterback, so that's 8 straight quarters with no sacks. With time to operate, I think LSU is going to be able to score enough, putting it on the shoulders of Nuss in this game. I'll take LSU to get the win over Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, the green nugget is an astute point. I just I just don't know, like LSU. I just need to see this game because LSU's their data points are like they're aging so poorly. Florida, Clemson, each passing week, it's like Iowa State. Every single day, their wins look worse and worse. So, but as a dog, yeah, I don't hate this call, and you're due, and I would like LSU to win this game. So, Duck, what do you got?
Yeah, Pittsburgh at home on the money line. The last 8 instances that Pittsburgh has come off of a bye, they're 7-1 straight up and against the number. You look at Pittsburgh's defensive front, second overall in defensive success rate, 11th in defensive havoc secured. Louisville's given up a little bit of that this year, which is concerning given the competition that they've played. Pittsburgh's allowing just 1.9 yards per carry on the ground and less than 4 yards per play overall defensively. I think we'll see it look a little bit different for Louisville today on the road in conference play. They've had some red zone inefficiencies and struggled a little bit on third down, concerning considering their opponents on their schedule so far have been Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, and Bowling Green. I think you look at Pittsburgh off the bye, still pissed off about how that backyard brawl went. Louisville's going to pay the price here today. Pittsburgh's going to win this game on the field.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting Pitt in my round robin. The only thing that gives me hesitation, there's a lot of injury news in this game. It looks like the Louisville back. By the way, Duck, practice with me. Louisville. So just go
Louisville.
Louisville. Like don't Louisville. If you say that in Kentucky, you'll get everyone will know you're not from here. I know you're not, but I had to learn the hard way. Um, so the Louisville backs are going to play. Desmond Reed is not, which is killer. That's what gives me worry. But they could get both their starting corners back. But Desmond Reed's like half their offense. That's what scares me. But Louisville's defense is very, very good. Their defensive front in particular. But they've already lost Clark, one of their better linebackers for the season. Watts is questionable. Conga and then Bailey are also questionable. So they could be shorthanded on defense. A lot of uncertainty there, which is why I don't hate it throwing in the money line parlay. But the loss of Desmond Reed, you're going to need a good Holstein game here. But really important game for Louisville. They win this game. It's like between them and looks like it might be between them and Georgia Tech for who's going to play Miami in the ACC championship. But expect more chaos in the ACC. I'm going to go with Arizona. Look, I don't think that there's much separating these teams. And we have a data point where we saw this with Vandy. When Vandy and South Carolina both played Vatek, Vandy dominated them. South Carolina basically played Vatek to a draw. Both these teams played Kansas State. Iowa State arguably got outplayed by Kansas State on a neutral field. Arizona destroyed them. Don't look at the final score. That was complete destruction. Iowa State also doesn't get pressure. That's important because Fafita holds onto the ball a ton. And I already mentioned, every Iowa State win ages more poorly with each passing day. And there's a little maybe hidden edge here in that Iowa State doesn't have a kicker today. They don't have their kickoff specials. They don't have their field goal kicker, who's really good. The field position, extra points, field goals, like all of that might end up hurting the Cyclones. They got a true freshman handling both duties today. So give me Arizona. So Moneyline Parlay for this week is Washington, Arizona, the Jedfish specials, Pitt, and LSU. Pays 50-1 over at DK. By the way, we're about to roll out some awesome new updates at the Action app, the award-winning Action app, I should say. And the best way to get the most from the app is by being an Action Pro subscriber. Pro subs can get real-time alerts whenever any of us post a pick. Sign up today with promo code BBOC20 for $20 off an annual subscription. That's code BBOC20. All right, let's talk the marquee matchup of the day. It's a whiteout. Penn State, I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, has covered 9 straight whiteouts in Happy Valley. I think there was 2 last year, including the SMU game, which was their most recent. Penn State, 3.5-point favorite at home against Oregon. Cannot wait for this one in prime time. Collin, what do you got?
I mean, I hate it. I mean, but we're gonna go Penn State minus 3.5 here. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen are just running out of their mind, especially Katron Allen. He's the one that's had it turned up this year. Last year was Singleton. Allen, 5.5 yards after first contact. That is really important for the fact that they run outside zone against Oregon. If you look into the run concepts of Oregon, of the Ducks right now, 42% success rate against outside zone. That's against the schedule of Oklahoma State, Montana State, Northwestern, Oregon State. It's horrible. It's horrific. It's the same thing with Oregon every single year. The defensive interiors cannot play run defense whatsoever, and it's going to eat them up here again today. You go to the other side of the ball. The biggest handicap against Oregon in every game is the fact that no matter if it's Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, or Dante Moore, their average depth of target is about 4 to 6 yards, and they like to let their skill positions do all the work and create all these explosive plays. So look into the secondary. I'm talking about King Mack. I'm talking about Darius Dixon. I'm talking about Jameer Joseph. These are the guys in the secondary. They're all graded in the top 20 at their positions as safeties and corners as far as tackling is concerned, as far as overall coverage grade is concerned. Penn State has what it takes to tackle in space, especially with players like DeCorey Moore that are impossible to get your hands on. So it is bad on both sides of the ball. So we're going to take Penn State minus 3.5.
Yeah, I completely agree. By the way, like this is all the intangibles are working in Penn State's favor. And from people that are close to the program that I know, and this isn't a surprise to anyone, Penn State has showed nothing. They showed nothing that they've used in practices, all of the wrinkles that Nicky has. Basically, they're saving them for this game. This is a two-game season. They've been preparing this game for 5 months, but even if you, and this is a known commodity, this team, right? So just from the eye test, yeah, Oregon has looked better. They both have played nobody, just little sisters of the poor every week. But Oregon needs to find out what they have. So they're going up and down. Penn State has showed absolutely nothing. You'll see it tonight. I still need to see Dante Moore against a real defense in a real environment. I mean, the last time that happened, he went, what did he go, 15 to 38 against Utah? I needed, pick sixes are in play. But plus their weapons are like true freshmen. Like they have never played in an environment against a defense like this. This isn't Oklahoma State. This isn't the Northwestern like blaring in a speaker on the lake for noise. This is a completely different environment. And by the way, just you have the two best coordinators, the best coordinator duo in this sport with 2 weeks to prepare, basically, but really more than that. While Oregon was, flying to the Midwest for a conference game, going back for the Civil War, now coming back across the country.
You
I
know,
like Penn
we
State
didn't,
as well.
we didn't mention this on the pod, and we should drop it now. Like, if you like props in this game, if they have not, if Nicky has not shown anything to this point, Luke Reynolds might be worth an anytime TD. If that fills the Tyler Warren from last year, I think Reynolds may be worth an anytime TD bet.
You'll probably see a lot more. You're going to see some unique Aller
Yeah.
run packages here. That was supposed. That's like that's what I'm expecting as well. Uh, Duck. I know I'll get your thoughts. You agree with us. The one, speaking of ducks, the ugly ducking here that likes the Ducks is Calabrese.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk it through, just yeah, go ahead, take small game James, 2-20 against top six opponents, hasn't knocked one off since 2016, 14 straight losses. So tie your wagon him, no problem. Yes, Penn State has been more vanilla, but Drew Aller has still regressed somehow. And you look through it, he doesn't know where his reads were against FIU. He's got one big time throw on the entire season against two turnover worthy plays, a QBR of 38.7. That is not instilling confidence in me when he should have been, trying to develop a little bit more chemistry with this receiving core that was supposed to be the big storyline of the offseason. They opened up the NIL war chest, they got him some new weapons. He has not looked good. And the Ducks blueprint here, I agree with Colin's assessment that they are weak on the interior. That means they're going to have to stack the box and leave Finney and Iffy O on islands on the perimeter. I don't hate that matchup considering how well they played early in the season. And when you talk about whiteout games, let's get specific and talk about whiteout night games because that's when the real magic happens in Happy Valley. Most of those since 2016 have been against fringe top 25 teams or unranked opponents. The last time they played a top 10 team in a whiteout game at night was Ohio State in 2018, and the Buckeyes won 27-26. So I think Penn State is rightfully the favorite here, and I get the narrative that they've been saving things, but Drew Aller really concerns me, and I think in the end he's going to make a mistake or two that's going to cost them this game. So I'll take the value at the Ducks plus 160.
I mean, Drew Aller concerns you. What have you seen from Dante Moore in a big game ever? I mean, Drew Aller's at least won some big games.
I mean, you're basically talking about their schedule, the Little Sisters of the Poor, beating Montana State, beating, Oklahoma State. They've looked great doing it. I'm not putting a huge amount of stock in that, but you have to be concerned with Aller. Like, even just going through some of the mistakes he's made, FIU was able to confuse him. I think the Oregon defense has way more in terms of versatility and athletes on the perimeter. So if this gets in a situation where they can't just run the ball repeatedly, I think Oregon's in an advantageous position.
I think Penn State's going to be able to run it, and I think Moore's going to make mistakes, and that's basically the difference. Uh, Duck, you're not on the Ducks. You agree with us?
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a spot play, and Penn State has likely been preparing for this for the last 100 days. We really don't have a lot of great data points on either team based on the competition, so I don't really detract from Penn State due to kind of their vanilla looking offense. And it's hard to really credit Oregon based on what we've seen. They've put up a bunch of points, but it's been against very, very weak competition. I look at the tenure of the James Franklin regime in Penn State and all of the big games that he's failed to win. You really have to look at this one as a complete must win for James Franklin going forward. Otherwise, it's going to get really, really hot for him. I'm not saying that he's going to get fired, but the pressure to win these big games is so critical. And if you can't do it in this spot, with revenge off the Big Ten championship game and how that played out last season, off of the bye week in Happy Valley with the whiteout at night in that environment, Oregon's got this cross country travel. If you can't do it here, if you're Penn State, when can you? I mean, this is just such a spot for Penn State. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this game's really close deep into the fourth quarter, but I think Penn State's going to win and cover this game. I think they'll win by 7 to 10. I think there are some advantages schematically when they go big on big and put the tight ends in there, use those tight ends in the pass game in the red zone. This is the one they absolutely have got to have. So yeah, I like Penn State here at home.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Franklin, who hasn't had much success against top 10 teams, he is 3-1 against the spread against top 10 teams as a favorite. So most of the time, his team isn't as good. And I think Penn State is the better team here. All right, before we get to the D block, talk some FCS. Got to tell you about Playbook. If you're not following Playbook already, you should. Just at Playbook on Twitter or X. If you see a bet on Twitter that you like, just at Playbook. It'll spit out the bet for you. Or if you want to just create a bet, you can say, hey, at Playbook, create this bet for me at, DraftKings. It'll create the link for you, spit it right back to you within seconds. You just click it, takes you right to the bet, saves you a ton of time, especially if you're like, you like a parlay or a player prop. You don't have to go searching for it. Really useful bot. Make sure you check it out at Playbook. All right, let's get to some FCS. Duck, D block. We got some Ivy. This might be the first Ivy we talked about this year. We're going Princeton, Lafayette over.
Yeah, just two really poor defensive tackling teams who generate very, very little pass rush. You're going to look at Princeton. Their defense lost a lot of production from last year's middling Ivy League defense, and they were just shredded at home in a loss against FCS non-scholarship University of San Diego. They gave up 485 yards, allowed 78% completion percentage in passing, and just several long explosives given up through the air. You look at Lafayette quarterback Dean DeNoble. He's going to completely torch this Princeton secondary. I was really impressed with Princeton's quarterback play last week with Hippa, who hasn't been very good there. Lafayette's defense is not overly strong. They played Columbia last week, who could not take advantage of that weaker defense. But their guys for Lafayette are inexperienced. They're young. They were in shootouts against Georgetown and Stonehill already this season. Princeton will move it on these guys, and it'll be a back and forth affair. I've got this one about 62-63, so over 57's a play.
All right, then next we're going to Nicholls State. Don't they have an ugly offense this year? The only thing I will tell you about Nicholls State is I've been betting college basketball for 20 plus years. My least profitable team I've ever bet on from an ROI perspective is Nicholls State. I never win betting on Nicholls State. I don't know why. I should just need to give them up. Maybe I should bet them in football, but you like them today catching a field goal on the hook.
Yeah, wrong team's favorite here. Eastern Kentucky offense is just so weak. Just 2.4 yards per carry on the ground and 83 rushing yards per game. They're only completing 49% of their passes on the season. And this offense in general, just 3.3 yards per play, 21% successful third down conversions. Nickel's defense will be airtight here and completely shut these guys down. They do have slightly better quarterback play with Deuce Hogan, who's completing 63%. I expect the ground game to get going here against the Colonels defense. Nichols has played three really excellent teams in recent, and they've lost every one of them, which is maybe why this line is where it's at. But this is a hungry bunch that's looking for a win. They're the better team, even on the road. They're going to get this win against Eastern Kentucky here.
Deuce Hogan, the ex-Kentucky Iowa
Thought you'd like
quarterback. That's
that.
who's their quarterback. That the ex-FBS guy, Deuce Hogan.
Yeah.
Nice. Uh, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good spot. Who they played Troy and who else? Uh,
Texas State and West Georgia, who's a sneaky good team.
yeah, and then one final one bonus pick, ETSU.
Yeah, I just like what their offense is doing with Cade McNamara at quarterback. They've got two really explosive receivers, and they use the tight ends well in the red zone. Mercer's getting a little too much respect here, but for what? They just defeated two of the worst teams in the Southern Conference in Wofford and the Citadel. They've already lost to non-scholarship Presbyterian University. They're not nearly as efficient defensively is Mercer than they were last season. This is going to be tricky for them. Another one where I think East Tennessee State has plenty of opportunity to move the ball here, and they can go out and win this game on the field. So give me 4.5, no question.
A pair of ex-Iowa quarterbacks. Where's Where's Deacon Hill these days? Is he even playing anymore? I don't even know if he has any eligibility left. Is he still at Utah Tech? I don't know. All right. Good stuff, Duck. Princeton Lafayette over, Nicholls State, and ETSU. All right, before we get out of here, at the horn, one final best bet. You got 30 seconds each. Collin, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody can go read the action write-up I have on a number of props. Now, the one prop that I didn't have in there because I've been waiting, Omega Blake over 74.5 receiving yards, anytime TD is a plus 105 for Arkansas. He is Taylor Green's go-to guy, 35 targets. He has over 25% of the target share. As of right now, being texted by my source who is on the field, Leonard Moore is not a part of the six DBs that are on the field for Notre Dame right now. So I like Omega Blake. He is Taylor Green's guy over receiving yards and anytime TD.
Yeah, big Devontae Smith will go, but it looks like Moore might be out. Still a game time decision, but that's some good info there. Calabrese.
Going with an over 62.5 between Memphis and FAU. Lightning pace for the Owls, 18.7 seconds between plays. This could threaten 170 total plays here. FAU cannot stop the run. That means Smith and DeRosier Jr. are absolutely going to eat against Keyshawn Owens from FIU. They gave up 224 yards as a team on the ground, 4 scores. He hit on his own, 9 yards per carry. And FAU has moved the ball pretty easily this year, 28th in total offense, but they have the most giveaways per game in the entire country and 130th in red zone efficiency. So what happened? They had a bye week. Zach Kitley circled the wagons. I see them finishing drives off here against a Memphis team that should have a bit of a letdown emotionally after that win against Arkansas. And I don't love the fundamentals of what they put on tape. So I'll go over 62.5.
Yeah, you kind of built the case for me because that's my pick. FAU plus 14, some regression in the red zone turners. But the bye week, super important here for a brand new team, brand new staff. Get the timing down with the quarterback receivers. They've been extremely unlucky with turnovers. And Memphis has been pretty lucky. Like they got the Troy backup quarterback early, and then Troy couldn't do anything. Last week they got Arkansas in a dream spot. They were still down 28-10, needed a fumble late. This is a good spot for FAU. So that's my last best bet. Duck closes out here. What do you got?
Yeah, Navy minus 13.5. Navy off the bye and playing on revenge from being embarrassed last year in Houston by Rice. You know, Rice is running this variation of the Scott Abel triple option, but they're still not an option team quite yet when you look at the composite makeup of what their roster has. Navy does have a good cornerstone on how to really defend the scheme. You look at Navy off the bye, this offense is going to look crisp. I expect them to secure some explosivity in the pass game. We've seen Navy 7.3 yards per play and 380 rushing yards per game. Rice thinks that they've been able to simulate the kind of the option principles of what they want to do, but they really haven't seen anything like what Navy's going to throw at them here. So you put Rice in the meat grinder and they can't get out. They're not going to be able to throw the ball when they're behind. Navy will win this game by 2 touchdowns.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thank you to Duck, Calabrese, Collin, producer Gifford on the back end. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't. 959 Bad Beat. That's the voicemail. Big Bets on Campus, wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have our recap episode tomorrow. Call into those voicemails all day. Recap what should be an awesome day. Duck and Calabrese with the G5 preview Wednesday. Collin and I with the Week 6 preview on Thursdays. We'll be back here same time next week, 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. Thanks again for tuning in. Enjoy this amazing day of college football, and good luck on all of your bets. Thanks to DraftKings. Cheers.